Welcome to Techstination. We're speaking with Rob Reis, the president and founder of a company called Higher Ground. Thanks for joining us, Rob.
Nice to be here. Good to meet you.
What you've got is an interesting product called the SatPaq. First of all, let's hear a little background about Higher Ground, what you're all about.
Sure, happy to do that. We started this company about 6 years ago. I guess I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been doing startups for 32 years. I'm actually 4 for 4. And every one of my companies is really focused on a disruptive opportunity. So we look for a problem that people know that they have and hasn't been solved before. And the problem that we addressed is the problem that we all have as consumers, which is whenever we do any kind of outdoor recreation, hiking, camping, fishing, we're often outside of cell coverage. In fact, that number in the United States, it turns out about 60% of the US by landmass has cell coverage, and about 40% does not. And that number is really not changing. The number of cell towers every year is about the same. So commonly where we do our outdoor recreation, we don't have coverage and we're frustrated by it. So the idea of the SatPaq was, could we come up with a very small satellite radio about the size of a credit card that communicates from a person? And in this case, what makes us unusual is to talk to a geostationary satellite. So a geo means it doesn't move relative to the Earth, which means it's always there. There are other radios out there which talk to LEOs or low Earth orbiting satellites. And that means you often have to wait 2 to 8 minutes for the communication. With a GEO, it's real-time communications, and it's a whole bunch less expensive to use than a LEO. So that product became the SatPaq product about a year ago.
And it's designed to work with your existing mobile device, right?
So that's exactly true. The world is really focused on the mobile phone as kind of the center of communications. And that allows you to make it a very friendly and simple user interface. So you might think of the SatPaq as just a clip-on antenna, a little bit larger than, it's about the size of a deck of cards, and you can clip it onto your phone. Or the truth is it's Bluetooth, so you can put it on your shoulder or your arm or on the ground, doesn't matter. But the interface is on your phone, either the Apple environment or the Android environment. And the user application is called SpaceLink. We wrote that, and it looks like just any other texting, messaging application. So very simple, very friendly to use.
So do you bring up it's a separate app? It's not your typical texting application that you would use, your messaging app. It has its own app, and then you can text to anyone?
You can. The other person does not need to have a SatPaq or SpaceLink. So once you download SpaceLink to your phone, it looks just like any other Android or Apple app. It's the same messaging environment. In fact, people are confused whether they're in iMessage or they're in SpaceLink. It looks the same, which was intentional. It was to make it something that we're just really comfortable with. In fact, we often call it a no thinking application. It's just texting, so you shouldn't have to think about it. But once you load SpaceLink, easy to do, and it's free on either Play Store or App Store. From that point forward, you're just texting. And so when you go into the forest or when you do off-roading or whatever, you want to stay in touch with people. You can send messages. It shows up on their phone. They get a map of where you are. So we send the GPS lat long every time. And frankly, the beginning of this is just texting from anywhere. But the truth is, once you have that kind of connectivity, there's like lots of other cool stuff which is in SpaceLink. So by example, when we work with our parasailers, they would like to have barometric pressure. So that's now for them, we have kind of a version of the same app, but basically there's a mode where you get all kinds of weather information, precision weather really up into the sky. For fishermen, they're interested in river flow rate where they are. They can't get that when they go fishing often because they're outside of cell coverage. So at our teleport, which is the big dish that talks to our satellite, we bring in all kinds of other information into SpaceLink. So there are different, we call them channels of information. Weather, we have Dr. Dex, which is emergency first aid. We have information on wind conditions. It's whatever you really want in your application. We add it in pretty easily.
And it's designed primarily for emergency communications, right?
So, I would say the basic reason why people buy it is to have the ability to have connectivity whenever they need it and to not pay a whole bunch of money for that service. So we're about factor 2 less expensive in every dimension than any other product. And, you buy messages, you don't pay by the month. So it's there when you need it, and that's what you want for safety. However, when you make the cost point, both the hardware cost, which our radio is $249 at retail, and you make the messaging cost inexpensive, and we do that, then you just use it for conversation. And so just like texting, we send text messages often because they're inexpensive and easy to do. And with the SatPaq, the message cost is typically about 20 cents a message, which is really what you're paying even on your cell phone, even though you have a bundle package. And if it's cheap enough, then you just send messages like, I'm having a good time, or I caught 2 fish, or I'll be home 2 hours late. So we offer communications convenience, and we offer safety.
Is the bandwidth there for sending images as well, or is this strictly text?
Yeah, so right now we're text. However, what's been fun about the product is we spend the last year and a half, the special operations forces of the Air Force, the Army, the Navy, Homeland Security, NASA, they're all working with us. We have contracts with all of them. So we're headed in what's a direction called situational awareness, which we can talk about in a minute. And so they're paying us to develop a new version where we'll be able to do voice and images. So I don't think we'll ever get to video, but we're going to be able to send pictures, and that's coming up really quickly too.
And voice communication as well, you're saying?
So voice, we do what's called push-to-talk voice. So on a phone, often 2 people could talk at exactly the same time. That's called full duplex. We're not going to do that. But when you talk on a walkie-talkie, one person talks and then the other person talks. That's the mode, but that's kind of a common communication technique, and we'll have that pretty soon too.
And will the existing device be able to do that, or will it take a different kind of device?
So for voice messaging, it will be the same device. Okay, so we're working on a version of SpaceLink called hands-free. So just like in the car where you talk to the dash and you send a message and it's voice in and it gets converted to text and it goes out over text and it comes back voice. So we're going to have that with the same product. The imaging product will be probably a tablet version of the SatPaq. And really the issue is we just need a bigger antenna. And on the back of a tablet, you can put a much bigger antenna than the back of a credit card.
Well, tell us about, you've talked a bit about pricing, but tell us more about the pricing and availability.
Yeah, so that's a big part of trying to get safety into people's hands. If it's too much money, you say as a consumer, that's just not going to happen to me. And that's the case with really all the other satellite products. They're $400, $500, and then $250, $300 a year. So a 2-year operating cost, you're up to $800. And people say, what's the probability of me getting hurt? Which I can talk about in a minute. But the bottom line is we said that's just too much, and we put a whole bunch of effort into making this incredibly inexpensive. So we sell the SatPaq at retail. Somebody can go to satpaq.com, SatPaq.com right now. It's $249 for the product. That's retail. And then our lowest entry point, which gives you 150 messages, which you can use anytime, is $55. So you're talking $300 to use the product, and that's factor 2 less expensive, which is important to get it into more people's hands. And the more people we can have with the SatPaq, when a situation comes up, and the truth is I'm full of trivia if you want to hear about how often people hurt themselves with hiking or mountain biking or whatever. It turns out it's amazingly dangerous. Even though you don't think it will happen to you, it will happen. The truth is, if you do 55 hikes, you're going to get hurt. That's the number in the United States. And mountain biking is like 19 mountain bike events. You'll get hurt. Just nice to have communications when you need it. And if it's cheap enough, you'll go do it. And then hopefully you'll also use it just for fun and convenience as well.
There are plenty of people who don't do these kinds of activities because of their fear of not being connected.
Very true, which is sad because certainly in the United States, our recreation is spectacular and you need to get out there. So lots of our customers are middle-aged and elderly who are saying, especially like women hiking by themselves. When you have a SatPaq, you just know that you have connectivity. There's all kinds of reasons why people are saying, let's go take a look at this. And that's frankly fun for us. We're a new company, but we just saved somebody's life about 2 weeks ago. That was an exciting report to hear about. That's the first time. I'm sure we'll have that happen many times. So just to be out there with a neat consumer product, which is fun to use, but it's there for emergencies, that's pretty special.
So where do people go to get more information and perhaps purchase?
www.satpaq.com. We sell direct on the internet. It's really easy to buy. You sign up for the $55. There's also a $150 program, which is 1,000 messages. It's just easy to buy. It's easy to use. And frankly, we stay in close touch with everybody to help people out. So that's how you buy it today.
And those messaging packs are good for what, a year?
They're good for a year.
Very cool.
That's
Again,
right.
again, it's satpaq.com, SATPAQ.com. Rob Reis, thank you for taking the time with us.
My pleasure. Good talking to you. Thanks for the interview.
Now this. Innovation. Hi, I'm Fred Fishkin, and I've been covering consumer technology for a long time, and it takes a lot to impress me. That's why I'm excited to tell you about the latest way to enjoy cooking in the great outdoors from my friend Patrick Sherwin and his great team at GoSun Stove. What if you could harness the sun to cook your meals anywhere you go, day or night? The GoSun Fusion arrives this summer using the company's tried and true reflectors and a solar vacuum tube to get you cooking without the mess of charcoal, heavy propane tanks, or smoke. And with an optional solar panel and battery storage, and the ability to plug in at home or on the road, you really can use the GoSun Fusion to cook anytime and anywhere. Want to learn more? Head to gosun.co and use the code TEXTINATION to save 10%. That's gosun.co.